destruction! Jonathan, kill him. Revel in your true nature. You're left rest in peace. Kinslayer! Come to me, Jonathan. You've burned away Nurse Crane's mind. You're a monster! What have you done? You... Kinslayer! Kiss me again, sweet brother. Rest in peace, monster. Kiss me again, sweet brother. Kinslayer! Jonathan, kill him. Revel in your true nature. Kiss me again, sweet brother. Abomination! Rest in peace, monster. You left me to rot in this grave! What have you done? Assassin! Abomination! Come to me, Jonathan. Kinslayer! What have you done? You left me to rot in this grave! Come to me, Jonathan. You've burned away Nurse Crane's mind. You're a monster! Kiss me again. Come to me, Jonathan. Kill him. Revel in your true nature. You killed me, brother. Rest in You've burned away Nurse Crane's mind. You're a monster. What have you done? Kinslayer! Kiss me again, sweet brother. Abomination! What have you done? Assassin! You left me to rot in this grave! Kiss me again, sweet brother. Rest in peace, monster. Because you spared, sure don't expect the same mercy from me. Come to me, Jonathan. killed me, brother! Jonathan, kill him. Revel in your true nature. Come to me, Jonathan. Kiss me again, sweet brother. You left me to rot in this grave! What have you done? Slayer! You've burned away Nurse Crane's mind. You're a monster! Rest in peace, monster. You've killed me, brother!
I have this thirst for blood. It's locked, all right. I cannot enter.
We do the Lord's work here. Watch out, boys! Die, vermin! Die, vermin! Over there! There's one of them vermin! God, this one's mine! Over there! There's one of them vermin! Eat this! Fear no evil! We the Lord and ain't human! Kill it!
So, Mr. Hooks and Nurse Hawkins are an item. Those two have hidden their affections well. It's locked, all right. It's locked. Good evening, Nurse Hawkins.
Good evening, Dr. Reed.
Do you need medical help yourself, Nurse?
I'm afraid I've contracted some illness, Dr. Reed.
Not under my watch, Nurse. Take this. You'll feel better.
Thank you, Dr. Reed.
Goodbye, Nurse Hawkins.
I'm quite busy right now, Dr. Reed.
Do you need my assistance?
Don't be ridiculous. I'm capable of dealing with this myself. I've just not taken the time to do so.
Then you are lucky that I have taken the time to do so. Consider it a gesture of solidarity between professionals.
I wish this hospital could have received as much attention from you, Dr. Reed. We do not see you in surgery very often.
Thank you for your time. We'll talk later.
You always knew the words to calm the children, Ellen. As for me, what a blundering idiot.
Good evening, Dr. Strickland.
And good evening to you, Dr. Reed. Can I be of any help?
Do you need my medical attention, dear colleague?
I would have been confused if anyone other than you had asked that question, Dr. Reed. But your help is welcomed.
There is no shame in helping each other. We're colleagues, after all.
Many doctors I have known are too cynical to think that way.
What do you think of Dr. Ackroyd's aversion to modern medical methods?
It's a shame he's so narrow-minded. Dr. Swansea taught me that science is about exploring uncharted territory. I'm convinced that's true.
With the influenza and all that's going on, you should put your differences aside. Why is it so difficult to work together?
I believe that if Dr. Ackroyd had been the one to discover the transfusion process, he would be the first to recommend its use.
So you believe it's just a question of jealousy and pride?
Dr. Ackroyd is as proud as he is blinded by his obsolete concept of medical science.
Please, could you tell me something about yourself?
I'm a great admirer of your work concerning blood transfusion, Dr. Reed. I run my own experiments. I'm convinced it's the future.
I based my technique on my mentor's research. He helped me perfect my method. What is yours?
I'd rather not talk about it. For now, it's just theories and first approach. My process is purely experimental and unsuccessful.
As long as you're cautious and methodical, you may remain empty-handed, but you won't fail.
You're not the first one to warn me, but I am convinced knowledge is the main weapon against the ravages of this epidemic.
What made you choose to be a doctor?
I'm not ashamed to admit you and your work have inspired me.
I am honored to have the opportunity to work by your side.
It's always a pleasure to share scientific and medical knowledge with someone eager to learn. I'll be glad to help you if I can.
This epidemic may be the century's most terrible disaster, but I'm convinced that we, as doctors, are the only ones able to defeat it.
What can you tell me about the Pembroke?
Well, it has always been an honor to work with Dr. Swansea. But with your arrival, I can't think of a better opportunity to learn about blood transfusion.
You seem quite optimistic. It's a rare and precious attitude in these difficult times.
I'm convinced that this epidemic is a test of endurance and dedication for us men of science.
Questions remain about our capacity to resolve the situation.
True, true. Last summer, during the first wave of the epidemic, I used to joke with Milton about the extra work. We're not smiling now.
Do you need help with anything in particular?
Well, yes, maybe. I'm waiting for a batch of products I ordered for my personal research, yet my supplier seems to have vanished.
Do you want me to play the errand boy for you?
Oh no, Dr. Reed. But if you went personally to his shop, what with your reputation and all, he wouldn't dare to refuse the products I need.
I see. Well, give me the address, for I may pass by if I have time. Tell me more about your willingness to experiment with new medical techniques.
Harvey Fiddick is a patient suffering from a severe injury that could cripple him if not treated correctly. I'm convinced your blood transfusion technique could help him.
What is it you really want? To save him, or to prove your point?
Fair question. I want nothing but to save my patient, Dr. Reed. Especially since I know Mr. Fiddick's story.
Tell me Mr. Fiddick's story.
Our first diagnosis was compromised because Mr. Fiddick lied to us about the real origin of his injury. He first claimed it was an accident.
But why would he hide such crucial information from us?
Because he is a proud father, ashamed of putting his children at risk because of his own negligence.
This personal involvement could also appear to be a lack of impartiality. You must know that a good surgeon must remain neutral.
I agree. But that does not excuse Dr. Ackroyd's behavior, a man who did not even take time to converse with his patient.
Do you think keeping his distance was a mistake?
All I know is that I'm taking care of human beings, with desires, hopes, and fears. Not some biological machine comprised of blood, bones, and flesh.
Goodbye, Dr. Strickland.
This hospital seems to be falling apart. But in the circumstances, I'm willing to give you the benefit of the doubt.
Good evening, Mr. Fiddick.
Good evening, Dr. Reed. Any news about my operation?
Tell me about your injury, Harvey. Why do you feel so guilty about it?
My wife died because of me. And now I may lose everything because I've been careless enough to hurt myself. What an arsehole.
How could your job be responsible for your wife's death?
I was working a double. She went out to bring me a hot meal and got caught in a German bomb raid.
You can't hold yourself responsible for your injury, Mr. Fiddick, unless you tried to hurt yourself.
Of course I didn't hurt myself. But I can't work until my arm is fixed. My children need to eat, Doctor.
Tell me more about the death of your wife, Harvey.
1915. I was in the army, building workshops for the Royal Flying Corps. Helen was happy I wasn't sent to the front.
What happened?
The Germans sent Zeppelins to bomb the construction site, but they missed their target. My wife was bringing my dinner when the bombs fell.
How are your children after losing their mother?
They were smaller then. The only good thing about this is my Helen didn't bring them with her that night.
I'm sorry for your loss. So many died during the bombings. I served in France and witnessed the carnage there.
I would like to say that she didn't suffer. Truth is, I have no idea. I just know that I'm all that me kids have. Poor little bleeders.
Is there anything else that's bothering you? Can I help in any way?
Really? Why has no one else asked me that since I got here? I thought I was in a hospital.
Unfortunately, you are not the only person who needs help. And complaining about it won't do you any good.
Well, perhaps you're right, Dr. Reed. I'm sure if me missus was still alive, she wouldn't be happy with me going on like this.
Goodbye for now, Mr. Fiddick. I'll see you later.
Sweet girl. Reads me like a book. I never could keep anything from her.
Good evening, Doctor.
I'm all right.
How is my son doing?
Do you require medical attention as well, Mrs. Goswick?
Do you know you're the only one who's asked me this? No. I don't feel well, actually.
Despite what you think about this place, I can tell you with absolute certainty, taking this will help you recover.
Well, at least your reputation seems well deserved. Unfortunately, I can't say the same for this hospital.
Goodbye, Mrs. Goswick.
Never could keep anything from her.
Come now, we can handle this.
Thelma Howcroft said she was being watched by vampire hunters. Where are they hiding? I should investigate. Good evening. I'm Dr. Reed.
Always a pleasure to meet a colleague, sir. Especially when he was supposedly dead.
A colleague? Are you a doctor too?
Not anymore, sir. I used to be Dr. Rakesh Chadana. Now, I'm just Mr. Chadana, pawnbroker and humble guardian of this morgue.
What do you mean, you used to be a doctor? Was your license revoked?
No, sir. It is just that I like to be precise. I run a little pawn shop while taking care of the dead. But I used to be a real doctor.
Are you afraid or uneasy being surrounded by so many corpses?
Why should I? These bodies are empty vessels. Flesh left to decay. Poof. No soul anymore. All gone.
An interesting point of view. And quite an exotic one, too. Most people fear, or at least have respect, for dead flesh.
Sir, as a medic during the war, I learned to face my death and the death of others. It's the pain we have to tame, not death itself.
You get this job?
After I left the army, I worked as an undertaker down by the docks. A dangerous place with many an unpleasant business there. Milton Hooks helped me get a job here.
Do you work here alone?
Yes, very easy work, sir. All I have to do is watch a few bodies. The situation was very different when the main morgue was still open.
Why do you have to watch these bodies?
Because these poor fellows have no names. We keep them in case someone comes looking for the missing. Sadly, very rarely happens.
Why close the hospital's main morgue?
It was for sanitary reasons after the beginning of the epidemic. Cadavers had to be moved to the nearest mass grave.
Have we met before?
I don't think so, sir. Why?
When we first talked, you said you were glad to meet me since I was reported dead.
Funny story, sir. Your sister came here a few nights ago. You were missing, and she was looking for your body. She must be very relieved now.
Since you're not afraid of dying, do you believe in life after death, Rakesh?
No. I believe we must do all the good we can while alive. For our time is short, and the obstacles are endless.
Do you think you would enjoy immortality as a concept?
I don't think so. Don't mistake me. I love life, and I'd like to live a long life. But everything has to decay, sir. Even goodwill.
Do you really believe goodwill cannot last?
As I said, sir, everything decays. If I was to never die, goodness, I would be bored or worse. And I like to be helpful, sir.
Quite depressing, wouldn't you say?
Yes, but the good news is, we'll all die before losing our humanity, sir.
So you're ready to die?
No, I'm not. I don't fear death, for I won't see it. What troubles me is the pain my death will inflict to those I know.
You're a wise man, Mr. Chidana.
No, Dr. Reed. I am a foolish man. But I like to think otherwise.
A pawnbroker? I expect you get all types of people here.
Yes, sir. All kind of people. For I sell all kind of goods.
Who comes here to trade with you? It's very unhygienic, even unsafe. Diseases can spread. For the customers, for the hospital.
I'm very cautious, sir. I've been a doctor, remember? And all my clients are good people. In fact, I think I only know good people.
What kind of goods?
With the quarantine, it's not always easy to buy things. So I trade. I exchange. Some people sell, some others buy. I like to help.
Please show me what you have to sell.
Of course. It's just trinkets and curios, really. But I'm sure they can be useful. I'm sorry.
It's locked, all right.
Cold medical bench, sir. I understand you must be very angry about this unfair situation. I managed to arrange to have you buried in the same mass grave as your wife. I hope that might help.
It's locked, all right.
Good evening, Dr. Reed. Such a pleasure to see you again.
Do you need medical attention?
Well, the proximity of the dead is not the most healthy company, even if the quiet can be appreciated.
Don't take too many risks with your health, Mr. Chidana. None of us are immune to this disease.
And that is a good thing. Death and disease is a constant reminder of our mortality. But you have my thanks, Dr. Reed.
Goodbye, Mr. Chidana. I cannot enter. Good evening, sir.
So it is true. The famous Dr. Reed has joined us. I can't think of any better news during these terrible times.
Do we know each other?
Actually, yes. We met once before, at the Rockefeller University in New York.
Dr. Tippett's, yes, I remember. I was assisting Professor Carell in his research about coronary bypasses. He had nothing but praise for you.
He was also very confident about your future. And look at you now. Eminent surgeon and blood transfusion specialist.
What is the Pembroke Hospital situation? And please, speak freely.
This hospital is not exactly the best of London. I'm sure you are used to working in a better environment.
It's more than enough. In any case, the personnel of a hospital are much more important to me than the building.
Don't be misled by appearances, Dr. Reed. This hospital does not lack talented people. It just lacks hope.
What can you tell me about the staff in the hospital?
Some are really good, and others are not so good. But during this troubled period, there is no time for slander. I prefer to focus on the positive character traits.
Tell me more about cherished people, then.
Nurse Brannigan is a pearl. She is the most helpful and dedicated nurse I've ever worked with. A clever and cheerful woman.
You really seem to admire her skills.
I'll go even further. If she was a man, she would be a damn fine practitioner.
Any opinion about the management?
I don't always agree with Dr. Swansea's reserve, but I must admit he does all he can to keep this facility running during this crisis.
Ah, yes, the burden of command. I was fed up with this concept while serving as a medical officer.
Don't get me wrong. Swansea's a good administrator. I just wish he would get out of his office now and again.
You're exhausting yourself, Corcoran. Maybe you should think about preserving your strength.
No. We must keep on healing all those poor souls. We are the last rampart before chaos. Once more, unto the breach.
Nurse Brannigan is worried about you, Doctor.
She should not have told you that. I will have a word with her.
You don't have to blame her for her honesty.
I'm not that kind of man, my dear Jonathan. Actually, Nurse Brannigan's opinion is the only one I may listen to.
Corcoran, I want you to tell me about Mr. Connor. How did he die? What happened?
He was my patient. He died because of my mistake. That's the blunt truth.
Who was this patient?
I don't know. Some sick man from the docks. Maybe a fisherman. I had no time to talk with him. No one claimed a body.
What was the nature of the mistake?
It was a twofold error. My diagnosis was wrong, and the administered dosage was too strong.
Why not stop practicing?
Are you mad? I killed that man, I admit it, and it won't happen again. I have saved so many lives since then.
I will cover for you, Dr. Tibbets, by keeping what happened to Mr. Connor to myself.
I don't know what to say, actually. I can't exactly force you to become my accomplice.
You didn't force me. This is my decision to make. I believe you're still of use to the hospital, considering the situation.
Then I can make you this promise. As soon as the epidemic is eradicated, I will resign.
What will you do after your resignation? Do you have a plan?
I always fancied visiting Cyprus. Such a beautiful island. I could buy a house there by the sea, read poetry, and wait for death.
Do you need any medical assistance yourself, Doctor?
Yes, indeed. But don't worry, I am perfectly capable of taking care of myself.
I have no doubt about it, but you are still ill all the same. Please, take this medicine.
I appreciate your concern, Dr. Reed. To be honest, I just did not take the time to diagnose myself.
Goodbye, Dr. Tippett. Good evening, Nurse Brannigan.
Good evening, Doctor.
Why does Dr. Tippett claim you're the main reason he keeps working, despite his fatigue?
If it wasn't for him, I probably would have left the Pembroke years ago.
Dr. Tippett does not think of you as just a nurse anymore, does he?
If you're suggesting he's not taking my gender into consideration when it comes to medical practice and knowledge, I really hope he doesn't.
Do you require medical assistance, nurse?
I will be fine, as soon as I can get some sleep.
Nurse, you won't be able to help people if you're sick. Take this, and do try to get some rest.
I'll try, Dr. Reed. Thank you.
Goodbye, nurse. Call me if you need assistance. Good evening, Milton.
Good evening, Doctor. Still trying to save lives?
I have some good news, Milton.
What? The epidemic's over?
I retrieved your wallet, with all the money and a certain picture.
Well, yeah, Pippa Hawkins is my girl. So what? Is it the difference of skin colour that bothers you?
Not at all, Milton.
Good. Please, take this money anyway. To remind you to keep your mouth shut. Not everybody is as broad-minded as you, Dr. Reed.
What's going on between you and Nurse Hawkins?
Pippa's tired. Tired of all this shit. Tired of all those corpses piling up. She's as depressed as I am.
You do realize you could both get fired. Hospital staff are not meant to have intimate relationships with one another.
Come on, Dr. Reed. Do you know how many rules are broken in this hospital every day just to keep it running? There's nothing wrong with what we're doing.
You do realize...
Come on.
During the war, I witnessed a few couples, just like you, come together in difficult circumstances. It can be very damaging.
Maybe you're right. But we support each other. And that's all that matters.
Do you need any medical help, Milton?
I'm afraid I do. Like everyone in this hospital. It's a sad state of affairs when even the hospital workers are worried about disease.
Our job brings us into contact with all kinds of infections, Milton. There's no shame in being ill while you're in a hospital.
That's easy for you to say, Doctor. I get the feeling you don't fall sick often. But thanks, anyway.
Goodbye, Milton.
It is good to see you again, Jonathan. How are you?
I'm better than one might expect, Lady Ashbury. Dr. Swansea has asked me to investigate the recent disturbances in the hospital, caused by skulls.
Really? What do you mean?
There is something ominous closing around me, Lady Ashbury. Something spies upon me from the shadows. Something cruel and wicked.
Whatever do you mean, Jonathan?
If Sean Hampton and Harriet were not the guilty parties, then who? I saw the bodies and the blood.
Your rebirth has not gone unnoticed, Jonathan. Be extremely careful. If you get in the way of an immortal's plans...
Do you suspect someone?
I don't know, Jonathan. I steer clear of vampire politics, especially whilst hunters roam the city's streets.
I discovered the most intriguing skull. An elderly woman answering to the name of Old Bridget, and a man who helps them remain hidden in London.
Old Bridget? Peculiar name, I've never heard of her.
According to Old Bridget, skulls can lead a peaceful existence like us. They are even able to nourish themselves by feeding on corpses and the flesh of the dead.
How vile. Please, Jonathan, let's change the subject.
Skulls of London have gone into hiding. Both mortals and immortals plot their extermination.
Yes. Skulls are the orphans of the Vampire Society. They are the shame of their genitors. A disgrace to the vampire that created them.
Goodbye for now, my lady.
This is no time for self. It is the last thing our patients need.
It's locked.
Jonathan, at last. I've been worried sick. Have you solved the case of our poor Sean Hampton?
Don't worry, Edgar. The reputation of Pembroke Hospital is secure. Sean Hampton was not the guilty party.
Is that true? Oh, good news. Good news indeed.
What do you know of the Ascalon Club?
Not as much as I would like. There have always been rumors about a secret society of vampires, operating in the interests of the British Empire. Though I've never met a member.
I crossed paths with one. A terrifying creature going by the name of Fergal. He was sent by the Ascalon Club to exterminate the Skulls of the East End.
By the stole, Jonathan. If vampires are eliminating their own progeny, then dark times are upon us. Darker than I've ever witnessed.
Do you think Lady Ashbury would know of them?
Jonathan, our beloved lady is not one for social dalliances, nor the assemblies of dark orders. She's a woman of superior taste and selective acquaintance.
Does the name Old Bridget ring any bells?
I'd never heard of her. Why? A patient of ours? I must confess, I don't know them all.
No, it's just someone I recently met. A fascinating woman. I had thought that perhaps...
By the stole, Jonathan, you've met another vampire. I would appreciate an introduction, if that's the case.
I found Harriet Jones. She's much the same old, embittered woman she was, only she's been made a Skull. Her transformation did not go well.
Incredible. Well, why not bring her here? We could learn so much by studying her condition. It would be fascinating.
Were there any studies made by your order on the subject?
Not that I'm aware of. I will transmit your discovery to the Brotherhood's primate. He will be delighted.
I doubt that. She can barely move. Perhaps we could learn more about the degeneration of Skulls.
Perhaps. But she could also belong to a new species. We know so little of the laws that dictate vampire reproduction.
A pleasure as always, Edgar. It's locked, all right. I cannot enter.